Hey, what's up everybody? Jay Shockblast here, and today we are going to do my first ever video review for a game. This is Injustice: Gods Among Us, the new fighting game just released this past week by NetherRealm Studios, the makers of Mortal Kombat. And what we're watching is some gameplay footage of a single-player mode called Battle Mode. And basically you go through a gauntlet of 10 fighters. I'm playing as Aquaman, and I hope you enjoy. I do want to say a couple things before I go into the rest. I'm playing this on easy, so go easy on me. I am not a fighting game fan. It's not what I would normally play, but when you factor in DC comic characters, some of my favorite characters, I had to do it. So hopefully this is the game that gets me into this type of style game. And I know that with NetherRealm, the way that they made this game, I can definitely see it happening. I would definitely trust any game they make. I'm even considering picking up Mortal Kombat at this point, because needless to say, I am a pretty big fan of what they've done here. I think the game was a lot of fun, and I'm obviously going to talk about a lot of things that I like, very, very few things I dislike, and at some point I think I'm going to get to a point where I can step up to medium. So far, whenever I play on medium, I can come close to winning, but I'm usually like a hit or two away, and I end up going down, so whatever. Anyway, that's my background in fighter games. The last fighting game I think I ever purchased on my own was the original Mortal Kombat for Sega Genesis. So, as you can tell, I haven't played them in a long time. Gameplay, this is pretty straightforward. It's something that's really easy to sum up. If you have played Mortal Kombat, and the one that NetherRealm recently re-released, it's a lot like that. It has, similar control set. It has the environment that is interactive. You can use the environment to your advantage. If you're in certain maps, there are different areas where you can hit the right bumper, or depending on which format you're playing on, you can press a certain button and throw a missile at somebody, or you can knock somebody onto another section of the map. That type of stuff is really cool, and I really enjoyed that aspect of the game. It made it a little bit more than just a button masher where you're sitting there trying to do combo after combo. The combos aren't really all that complex if you're into this type of game. I guess it depends on the difficulty you play at, but I know for me, as you will see in this video, kind of stick to what I know. Certain moves are certainly easier to do than others, and I just try to win. I'm just, in this video in particular, I'm obviously not watching everything that's going on. That can just be distracting. In this video, I don't mind if they hit me. I'm really just trying to show off different aspects of the gameplay so that everybody can get a good idea of what it's all about. There are a lot of different game modes with this, way more than I even expected, which is really great. It gives it a lot of replay value, a ton of replay value, which is something I don't know that I was totally expecting. There is a story mode, which I haven't done fighting games in so long, I didn't realize you could do a story mode in the fighting type of game, and I actually was really impressed with how they did it. It made a lot of sense. You went through 12 chapters, and each chapter has a different character that you can play as in the game, that you basically do a bunch of fights, and they wrap up a story around it. And it's a really cool story. It's completely separate from the New 52 storyline that they recently rebooted with DC Comics. So I guess we're going to say this is not canon. It literally is a standalone story. Makes no sense with what's happening in the DC universe right now. It is in an alternate dimension, so you've got the cast of characters that we have shifting into a different dimension to help save theirs, and which is really interesting. I really liked what they did where certain characters that you go into this alternate dimension are suddenly no longer the good guys. I don't want to do spoilers, but it's tough not to talk about the story and have there be, not be spoilers, because you got to talk about it. So just a heads up, possibly some spoilers here. It's a short 2-hour story, so it's not really, I guess, that big of a deal. There aren't really a whole lot of moments where you're going to say, holy crap, that just happened. Believe it or not, the one that it did happen for me involved, the regular dimension Batman that we would all know, and the alternate dimension Nightwing. And you'll see it if you play the game when it happens. It was really cool. I think he was talking to Green Arrow when it happened, and you're just like, oh shit, whoa, I was not expecting that. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Let me talk a little bit about Superman as the bad guy, because that's what he becomes in this alternate dimension, and it really is gives Superman this edgy feel to him, and I really thought it was a really cool concept. I know that it's been sort of done before, possibly, but I think they really did a good job by using Superman as the bad guy. Just, this is what the world could become if Superman wasn't the man he is today. And I'm not the biggest Superman fan. I don't know, I see the allure. I understand he's, one of probably the 5 most recognizable and popular comic book characters ever. Maybe you would even say top 2 or 3. I don't really know who. I mean, I guess Batman would be number 1, but Spider-Man's up there too somewhere. In any event, he's up there, and it's tough to not make him, feel different and new. It's tough to make that happen. And I really felt like they did a good job with it. He was, definitely acting out of emotion, and which is something he's always kept himself removed from. And yeah, it's really cool the way that they brought it all together. The ending definitely leaves the possibility that we can see an Injustice Gods Among Us 2, which is cool. I mean, obviously they're going to hopefully make this into a franchise, and I look forward to that. I mean, this is definitely a franchise that I will stick with. I'm playing it way more than I thought I would, so that's great. Again, going back to characters acting different than we're used to, Hal Jordan as a Yellow Lantern, that's interesting to me. It's really cool. Aquaman, kind of succumbing to pressure. It's pretty cool when all the characters see their alternate universe selves, and you start seeing like Lex Luthor as a good guy, and a genuinely good guy, and all the conflicts that the alternate dimension characters have with each other. Joker as a bit of a martyr, even though he's the linchpin that caused it all. It's kind of crazy. It's a cool story, albeit a little bit short. But after 2 hours of going through the 12 chapters, I wasn't disappointed that it was over. The story might be short, but everything else that you can do makes up for it. So let's talk a little bit about the game modes. We have the battles, which you're kind of watching right now, where you go through the 10 different characters. One of the really cool things is I'm doing classic battles. There's a whole litany of different ways you can do the battles, where you're fighting just villains only and heroes only, and all sorts of stuff like that. You have decreasing health bar, where the only reason to get health back as you progress through the 10 battles is to do special moves. So definitely a lot of challenge there if you're looking for a challenge. If you think you're up for it. I mean, most fighting game fans are going to be much better at this game than I am, so it's going to be a lot more fun. I would probably not get past the second or third round on one of those, so I'm all set with that. You also have Star Labs, which is a bunch of little mini games, tons of mini games that you can play. There's a training mode where you can practice your moves, and then there's just straight up fights where you can set up a 1v1 fight and just go at it. So that's a lot of the single player stuff. Multiplayer is not something I will very likely get much into. I can say that I have played one multiplayer match, and it was the cheesiest thing I've ever seen. I picked Deathstroke because I love Deathstroke as a character, and the other guy picked Superman, which, you know, it's PvP, so I don't blame people for doing it, but the guy just stood back at range and kept shooting the same move, laser eye, over and over again. And if I was good at the game, maybe I would figure out a way to combat that, but he kicked my ass because he just sat there at range. Every time I got close, he would, you know, hit me with some ranged attack, and to me that's just cheesy. I guess from my perspective, I'm just hey, it's a fighting game, let's fight it out. I mean, I know it's a move that's legit and legal, and, you know, it's there for a reason, but just to sit back and do that constantly, it's really cheesy to me. But hey, I can tell you right now that if you go into, you know, the multiplayer leaderboard, there are some people that already have 1,000 matches in, and this game is literally only a week old. So that's awesome. I mean, that tells you that there's a lot of people out there that love this game, and they really should. It's just not something that's going to be for me. Also, as part of the multiplayer, you can do local, you know, head-to-head, which I have done. We've got some videos, me and my buddy Chris playing each other as the day the game came out. Literally took it out of the package, so we're both terrible, and I'm sure everybody will be the first to tell us. Other than the game mode, I want to, you know, spend a lot of time talking about characters. Now, that is the allure of this game to me, is wanting to play as these characters. And it's more than just, this is a fighting game with DC characters, 24 different characters you can play as. There's a lot that goes into it, a lot of story, a lot of personality. I really felt like NetherRealm did a really great job of capturing each character's, you know, the way that you would expect them to act, you know. Superman in, you know, the normal Superman, not the alternate universe Superman, you know, he definitely feels like that genuine good guy, you know, the epitome of being a good guy. And then you got guys like Green Arrow, who, you know, they've got that cocky swagger, and some of the things he says are great. And, you know, Deathstroke, very calculating, and, you know, very militant, you know. A lot of these characters, I really felt like they did a great job of just capturing their emotion. Character selection, you know, you've got 24 characters, 12 good, 12 bad. I believe it's 24. I'll feel really dumb if I got that wrong, but, you know, as an even side of good and bad, you've got the obvious characters that if you're going to do a DC Comics game, you're going to have these characters. Superman, Batman, you know, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, The Flash, Cyborg, Aquaman, Green Arrow. Those are, you know, the key members of the Justice League. And then, of course, Lex Luthor, the Joker, and if you're going to have the Joker, you might as well have Harley Quinn. One part about Joker that's slightly disappointing is it's tough coming from Batman Arkham Asylum and Arkham City and having, you know, Mark Hamill as the Joker and having him be the Joker for so long and go to another Joker voice. I think whoever did it, you know, did a good job. It's just this Joker had a little bit of a deeper voice and was not quite the same as what Mark Hamill did. I mean, it's tough to top Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill is amazing. But obviously you're going to notice that when you play the game, hey, this isn't Mark Hamill. That's okay, we're going to have to get used to that, but it's evident, it's obvious, you know, what can you do? Then you have the Batman faction of the game, and, you know, Batman, I think at this point, has become the embodiment of comic book characters. I'm not really the biggest of Batman fans. I like Batman. I love his story. I love the characters. I like him way more now than I did before all the movies started. And not because of the movies, but more because I really feel like they've done a lot of interesting stuff with him in the New 52. So you've got Nightwing, you've got Solomon Grundy, you've got Catwoman, you've got Bane, you've got Deathstroke. There is also... and this is where the spoiler is going to kick in. There is also some reference to Damian Wayne. You'll see that when it happens, and he's not a playable character quite yet, but I imagine that there is going to be some sort of skin of Damian Wayne at some point. So now that we've got those characters, the super obvious ones, and then the Batman characters, you also have some of the foes of characters that you would expect. So you've got Green Lantern, so you have to have Sinestro. You've got Superman, so your Superman bad guy, other than Lex, is Doomsday. And then you have Shazam and Black Adam kind of going at it. Those ones make a lot of sense because Black Adam isn't, I don't know if he's really the most popular bad guy out there, but he's definitely, the yin to or the yang to, Shazam's yin, I guess you could say. And Shazam, I know they're trying to do a lot with him. That's who I call him. I know some people call him Captain Marvel. They have dropped that at this point, so he is basically Shazam moving forward. There are some questionable characters, though, and it's tough to make people happy. There's a balancing effect. You're going to have characters, no matter who they put in this game, there are going to be people that sat back and say, hey, why is that character in this game? And for me, there are 4 characters that stand out where I say, I don't know if that's who I would have gone with. One of these 4, I like the fact that they're in the game because of the story mode and because of what they bring to the table. So those 4 characters are Raven, Hawkgirl, Killer Frost, and Ares. So Raven, I'm okay with. She's Teen Titans, and they do reference the fact that Cyborg and Raven are working together. Alternate reality versions of them are working together, and they do reference the Teen Titans as part of the story. So that one I can make sense with. That one I'm okay with. Still, there are definitely some people that I'm sure would look at that and say, yeah, I'm not too into that. These 4 characters have 3 of the 4 have something in common, and that they're all female characters. And very clearly, NetherRealm was trying to have more female characters in here, because other than Harley Quinn, Wonder Woman, and Catwoman, which are obvious characters that you would expect to see in this game, there's not a whole lot of other really super popular female characters to add in here. Hawkgirl is the one that I would have definitely changed out. I mean, she's a cool character, but as far as the story goes, she doesn't really bring much to the story. And I would have much rather seen Carter Hall and Hawkman, considering he's more of a member of the Justice League. And, with the New 52, his costume is really awesome, and it would really fit a lot, really well with this storyline where a lot of the characters are wearing this kind of weird armor stuff. Killer Frost makes no sense to me, other than the fact that she has a cool, ice style ability, and every other character that does that, you wouldn't want to put Mr. Freeze in there because you already have all those Batman bad guys. You don't want it to be nothing but Batman characters. You do want a balance. And, Ares, I understand why he's in here. It's a Wonder Woman enemy. It does make sense in the storyline, so I don't have as big of an issue with it as I did when they announced him. I mean, they kind of announced Killer Frost and Ares at the end with like, oh yeah, by the way, they're in the game too. And I know it's artistically and the way that the characters' movesets work and stuff like that. That's definitely why they wanted to fit them into the game, and I'm okay with that. That's fine. There are some characters that I could have possibly seen them switching out. So I'll say that Raven, we can stay with Raven. That's fine. But the other 3, Hawkgirl, I would have switched Hawkgirl out with Zatanna. I mean, she's a very popular character, I think. She's part of the Justice League Dark, which you can bring that into the equation. And, it's another female character, so, you're swapping a female character for a female character, and it makes a little bit of sense to me. And, you know, you can add Hawkman as DLC if you have to. Uh, as far as the Killer Frost Ares connection, you know, I would bring in Captain Cold instead of Killer Frost. I know he doesn't have, you know, magical powers or anything like that, like Killer Frost seems to have, but he brings you that freeze dynamic, and it also brings in a flash enemy to the gameplay where you've got really nobody that's you kind of think of as being solely with the Flash. And then as far as balancing that out with another female character, you know, Captain Cold actually replaces Ares, and then for a Wonder Woman style enemy, replace Ares with somebody like Cheetah or Cersei. Cersei making a little bit more sense, especially after the DC Universe Online. She was the main Wonder Woman enemy. I think she could have done the same thing that Ares did, but I'm not going to harp on Ares too much. Just Killer Frost, I think, is the one that sticks out like a sore thumb, because I don't really know that many people care or know much about the characters. So at the end of the day, I mean, if we're complaining about one or two out of a huge lineup of 24, that's got to be a big win for NetherRealm. Another really cool aspect of the game as far as characters go is all the background characters you see throughout the maps and throughout the gameplay. You know, you can't actually play as them, you don't really talk to them, but you can see them kind of in the background. Off the top of my head, you know, Martian Manhunter is on the Watchtower. He's in the Watchtower map, I guess you could call it. Just kind of roaming around in the background. He'll sometimes come out to the forefront. On the Arkham jail map, you've got Hugo Strange kind of standing around. And there's a couple situations where you can knock the player into another section of the map in that same map, and you'll see Scarecrow and Killer Croc, the Penguin, and Two-Face. So that's really cool the way they did that. You can see like Dr. Fate in the background in a glass case, which I would assume means that he's died. Just really awesome the way that they added characters like that. It's a nice, you know, homage of sorts to all the other characters of the DC universe that they were able to fit into the gameplay. As far as it all kind of wraps up together, it's a really great package. I think NetherRealm did a really good job of it. I did just realize that for the Batman characters, I did miss one character, and it's a big one. A shame on me for forgetting it, but Bane. Bane obviously is, especially after the last Batman movie, you have to have Bane in the game, and so yeah, I guess I missed that. You know, wrapping everything up though, there are going to be 4 DLC characters, 4 DC, Injustice Gods Among Us. The first one has been announced. It's Lobo, and I'm on board with that. I don't think there are many DC Comics fans that are going to be disappointed that Lobo is a character in this game. I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. I really think they're going to do a good job with it. As far as characters I would like to see in the game, I think Atrocitus, the Red Lantern, he's one of my favorite characters. I love the Red Lantern book. I would love to see him as a playable character in this game. Another one that makes sense is Larfleeze, the Orange Lantern. I think they could do a fantastic job with all of his little, you know, minions that he can call upon. Firestorm would make a lot of sense for a good guy. You know, you have multiple skins for both Firestorms. And another one that I think would be really interesting, just because of what he could bring to the table, is Swamp Thing. Not really one of my favorite characters, but I could just see him having some really cool movesets and special moves and special videos and everything like that. As far as who I think they'll go with, I mean, Darkseid makes a lot of sense. You can knock a character out of the map, and Darkseid will throw him back in. I think he's obvious that that's somebody that they can possibly go with. Martian Manhunter also makes a lot of sense, considering the way that they have him kind of walking around in the foreground. Obviously, he's on the top of their head, and he's probably the most obvious NPC that you see going around in the maps. And Zatanna, I know I already talked about it. It's a female character. Makes a lot of sense. They've already announced one quote-unquote bad guy. So, you know, there's 3 characters left, and I doubt that they're going to do more than one, you know, female character, because there's, you know, for better or worse, there's a lot of really awesome male characters. And I think that would be a perfect character to add for a female character. Her magic and stuff like that would just be really cool. And you know, those are the 3 that I think that they could go with. And obviously Carter Hall, Hawkman. You know, I know they have Hawkgirl, but you know, Hawkman would be pretty awesome too. He just looks cool. I'd really love to see him in there. You know, wrapping up, fantastic game. I'm really happy I bought it. I was on the fence with it for a really long time, and it's not perfect for me personally. If you're a fighting game fan, maybe there is something that you can find in it that you would say is perfect. I would say it's about an 8.5 out of 10. The graphics are amazing. The gameplay, if you're into fighting games, is probably, you know, going to be a lot smoother for you than it is for me. And for me, as somebody who literally, I suck at this game flat out. I understand that completely. I think if somebody like me can pick up this game, enjoy it, and have fun with it, and want to keep playing it, and you are a fan of fighting games, you cannot go wrong buying this game. I definitely recommend it. If you're not a fan of fighting games, there's a little bit of a learning curve, and you're going to have to get used to some things. But if you love DC Comics, this is a game that you can pick up and run with and get better at and enjoy the hell out of. So, comes with pretty high recommendations from me. I am pretty excited about it. I'm going to go ahead and give it an 8.5 out of 10. And I really appreciate everybody that watched the video. I hope it was enjoyable. I did this all in one take, first try through. I'm pretty proud of that, and I like the fact that it's from the heart, it's natural, it's me talking, and I hope you enjoy that format. And I will hopefully be doing something like this again. And thank you all for watching, and thank you for subscribing. And if you're thinking of hitting that like button, thank you for that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love all my subscribers. I really appreciate it. You guys have no idea how awesome I think it is that I've done the type of stuff that I've done so far. So thanks again for watching. Injustice: Gods Among Us is in stores now. It's on the Xbox 360, the PlayStation 3. I believe it's also on the Wii U, and it's on the PC. And high marks, high recommendations. I mean, it is definitely, probably, likely going to be the best fighter of the year. So check it out, and we will catch you next time. Thanks. Peace.